Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy Prez, aka Cheap Allegations Poppy, aka Get Fit Poppy, aka Future Penthouse Poppy. This is Harlem Talks for real. To my far right in the hop, Cap and the Dapper Dan Harlem T, who we got?
This is Kai Cogsville, aka Mr. Young Atlas here with Raymond Santana, Alpheaus Marcus.
Hey, yo, what's good, dude? You already know what it is, Uncle Harlem, nigga. Your friendly neighborhood Harlem, nigga. And salute to everything that got anything to do with Harlem, nigga.
You already know this is Alpheaus Marcus, community advocate. We hit.
So, this your first interview on Harlem since you announced you're running for city council?
My first interview in Harlem?
Yeah.
Oh,
since,
no.
Nah, since announcing your political aspirations.
No, we did tons of interviews since I announced.
Alright, cause I seen you on 2, I seen you on 5.
Yeah.
I ain't see you on town though. Like, what's going on with that?
Well, we here now.
We here now, alright?
We here now.
So how's it been? Like, just beat campaigning and do boots on the ground, doing all that?
It's work. But you know, I come from a background of activism.
Mm-hmm.
So we always been grassroots, right? And so for me, knocking on doors, talking to people in the streets, that's the best part. Because you really get direct. It's that direct connection with the people. And they really tell you how you feel. That's genuine.
So the people telling you how they feel, what's the reactions been like? What's the pulse of the neighborhood?
You know, they're frustrated. A lot of them are mad with the conditions. And I understand that. I get it. You know, when you're dealing with the same people and you're trying to get the same issues heard and they're not being heard, it becomes frustrating to the point that some people will just turn off, right? And that's why you get a lot of people at some point, if the pressure's enough, they will leave, right? They'll figure out, you know what, I don't need to be here. I'm out. And so at the end of the day, what I try to bring is I try to bring comfort. You know, that at the end of the day that somebody's gonna be here that's gonna fight for you because I understand what it's like. I understand when you're being pushed out. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the tone from the people. They're afraid. They don't want to be pushed out. They're afraid of the current president that's in. They're afraid of what they see happening to the migrants. And they're afraid for their own stability. Especially our seniors. People who have paved the way, who have been in our community, who have gave their time, their effort, their energy, right? It's an investment into the community. And so my dad, I always use this as an example because it's perfect. He worked at Flower Hospital in East Harlem for 44 years. He's 73 right now. At some point, he's gonna be looking at $5,000 a month rent.
Yeah.
This is how we reward our seniors. Our parents, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, uncles, people who have paved the way, who have retired, now they can't even afford to stay here.
So legislatively, like, what do you think? What type of laws? What do you think we need to do politically to get that changed?
I think that in the beginning we have to look at the stability, right, of the community. We have to look at affordable housing. We have to look at how do we get our people to stay. A lot of our people have left, and a lot of those who are here are fearful that they will be pushed out, right? And so we have to bring that comfort because the seniors are the easiest ones to push out,
Yeah.
right? We are the middle base. We hold the ground, and then here come our children. So that bridge, it becomes disruptive, right? If mama's out, now we got to scramble to try to bring that in,
Yeah.
right? So now we got to balance it. And that's what the system does. It keeps us off balance, right? And that's what it is. It's the stability. So it starts with affordable housing first, right? And then from there, it goes to childcare, which is education. Because the next investment, after you invest into your community, then you have to invest into the children, because that's our future,
Right.
right? And we know that in East Harlem and the South Bronx, we deal with gun violence. We deal with a public safety issue. While people are afraid to come home at night because they're afraid what's going to happen in the neighborhood, right? And so then it goes from there. But we have to take care of us as a community first, with our stability, and then from there, jobs, security. Because what we got now in East Harlem is a lot of drug addiction, mental health. And because that becomes number one, that becomes the focus. And it takes away from what we have to do as people, as men.
Yeah.
So with the drug addiction, right? That's over there. Me personally, I think as far as the niggas is going, call it zombie. Like,
Yes.
a lot of niggas just gotta die off, man. I don't think that you can help them.
But you can't, no, because that problem was put here. You can't, that's us in the hood. But realistically, they people. Somebody put them in our neighborhood. You put them on 125th Street. We know what that 125th Street used to look like growing up as kids.
That wouldn't have happened on the Upper East Side, I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, it's the fact.
See, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I know, we did a segment on affordable housing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what
that's
we
the last
know
thing
is,
you put up.
what we know is that affordable housing, when it comes down to the urban communities, right? You have a demographic of income 55,000,
Yes.
right? They've enlarged the district to include downtown, where the AMI now is anywhere from 79,000 north to 102,000. One of the problems that I've seen within city council is when they went against, they attacked Airbnb, right? And in return, the developers who built some of these affordable housing units, they started charging people who rent rooms. They became an Airbnb themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Some of the people in city council don't want to challenge that, and I wonder why.
Yeah, I can't, I don't know why they won't challenge. You know what I'm saying? I'm not city council right now. I'm Raymond Santana from East Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to kick the door in and make sure that we heard. At the end of the day, my demands come from y'all. That's why, for me, when I come on this race, these other candidates, they're gonna sit here and tell you all these great things they're gonna do, all these policies. For me, that's not the key. The key is to unite the people first. Because if we don't stand together, it don't matter how good my policy is. And my policy only becomes as strong as the people behind me who reinforce it. That's the key. If I know that if housing is your thing, and I'm the city councilman, then it's up to me to bring you in. Brother, I need your expertise on this.
Yeah.
This is how this goes. And it's also transparency.
Right.
Because now you you bear mind, you witness to what I'm trying to do.
That's something that's been missing in politics. We haven't seen any transparency.
100%. And politicians get this, politics as usual, politics. Oh, we can't believe politicians. But at the end of the day, this politician is supposed to be the voice that represents the people.
Right.
It gotta be more integrity in that.
You know what these niggas do? They go around and shake hands, kiss babies, and all that.
100%.
When it's time to get the vote, then once the niggas get in, it's like, we don't see or hear from these niggas till it's time to get voted again. But niggas be at every event on red carpet and all that.
Yeah.
Fuck all that, big. We need,
But what happens is when you unify the people, the numbers always mean something in this game.
Absolutely.
Right? So at the end of the day, when you unify the people, you hold that politician to the fire. I told them many years ago at the gate, I said, if y'all ain't doing no job, we're gonna see you come election time, right?
Absolutely.
Here we are.
Have you seen the voters, have you seen a lot of participation? Because I think that's a big problem too.
That's the problem. You're looking at a district that has 186,000 residents, and it turns up 5,000 to 10,000 votes on the election.
Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, that looks crazy to me.
Because I think people don't believe.
No, that's one. And some people, they don't care. They see these conditions in East Harlem, and they have become so desensitized to it. It's like, it's nothing gonna get done. They don't care. It's been in existence for 20 plus years. So at the end of the day, they're disgusted.
Could that be more or less from traditional politicians making promises that they won't keep?
100%.
Failed leadership within the community.
It's right there. You look at who's your current city council member that's been sitting there for 8 years. How long has Zombieland been in existence?
Just like
Its proof is there.
What I'm saying is, when you start talking about leadership within the communities,
Yes.
that's some of the things that we lack within our community. Our community is no longer a community. When you look at the reality, we neighbors living amongst one another.
Yes.
There is no community aspects of it because everybody's trying to chase the bag.
That's true.
And the fact that everybody's trying to chase the bag, it's not a importance to come together. Like, how would you suggest, or how would you make that position different?
I'm seizing it right now. That's how. I'm stepping up to be the person to say, look, if I'm stepping up to do it, I need y'all to be behind me. If you're not behind me, they're gonna hang me and cook me to fry. They're gonna cook me. It only works when I come with y'all. If I walk in there by myself, they're gonna laugh at me. If I walk in there with the numbers, they go, he's serious. And now if he's serious, then what does he want? It ain't what I want, it's what we want.
What I would say is, and what RIP to Charlie Rangel,
Yes.
is, politicians like that, they're very accessible, and I think that's what we lack in our community. At 93 years old, you could call them and call you back in 5 minutes. We don't really have that accessibility with our politicians, and I think that's important, because they get in office and then it's like, can't even get in contact with the people.
100%. I get it.
That's what I just said a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
They disappear after they get the votes and all that shit. They go around shaking hands, kissing babies, and then you don't see a hit from them more. You got to stay the same nigga that I can reach out to the same way I always have.
And that's why at the end of the day, to hold your politician accountable, you grip up. You get your numbers up. You hold some. Remember we got you in last time? What's gonna happen when you come around? Because you'll be back around. You hold his feet to the fire. I walked through 105th Street. I walked through some of the organizations, and the first thing they say is, "Yo, you the first person we seen walk through here."
That's what they always say, though. They always gonna say that during election time. They always gonna say that's one thing they always say. That's how they know people's campaigning, because they walk around doing campaigning, but you don't see them after campaigning.
But that's the thing. I don't walk around campaigning. I walk like this. I'm not here. Like at the end, that's what I'm saying. The campaign is one thing, but I'm campaigning, but I'm not really here to campaign. I'm here to get you. I'm here to get you. I'm here to get you. I'm here to get him. I'm here to get you. I'm here to recruit. It's different. It's different. And if you look at my history, I come from a background of activism. That's all I know. So at the end of the day, when I see Yusef in the fight, and he's doing his thing as the councilman, and I come in and I say, you know what, I'm gonna join in that, because what I'm gonna do is my presence with him joining me is gonna make District 9 be supportive of District 8. It's unification already. Nobody's talking like that.
So your district go from East Harlem up to
South Bronx.
South Bronx. I'm familiar with that because we helped at the time of Maritza when it got extended. Like, the east side itself is being gentrified, right? Everybody talks about affordable housing, but affordable housing is nothing more than gentrification 2.0.
Let's go back to the question that we had before on clip that we just
Yeah,
put out.
we dealt with that. We dealt with that. When you have people that's being priced out, when you have situations where, y'all call it zombie land, but literally it's like homeless population, right? There's nothing there to hold accountability in regards to why the homeless people are there. There's no solution-oriented process, and as lawmakers, a lot of city councilmen, they're not really doing what they're supposed to be doing, like holding hearings as to why, DSS is giving these contracts to individuals who are not performing what it is they're supposed to do. This is something I've been through for the longest. Like, I got the state comptroller and both city comptrollers to do an audit on DHS and their shelter providers. Found out that the city literally is wasting $2.2 billion on ineffective.
Niggas greasing their palms.
Well, here's the thing: they double dip. A lot of shelter providers is double dip. They have a revolving door, right? Where if you don't come back in time, your bed gets lost, but you got to keep coming back through that circle, right? And all they doing is showing numbers. Nobody's willing to stand up to any of these nonprofits, right? If you get in office, how do you see yourself addressing these issues that predominantly affect your community?
So we got to peel it back now. So it's the same thing as when I came in and I said, I looked at my neighborhood and I said, how is that my neighborhood has been like this for so long? Who's in office? Then you got to peel it.
No, I'm saying if you get in office,
Period.
you yourself.
Myself.
what steps would you take to remedy these situations?
Well, we got to peel it. Somebody put the homelessness here. This is what I'm saying. When it goes back to 125th Street, how did it look 20 years ago? We know that because we grew up in that era. We saw what it looks like. So somebody did this deliberately. On the state, federal, it's all there. But nobody's peeling it back, even though it's been there for 20 years. So I come in and I say, well, nobody's asking these questions? Why not? So now we got to get these answers. If it's all on Randall's Island, why y'all busting it in and putting it on 125th Street? Why you ain't put the services over there? Why you put needle exchanges on 126th Street? Well, across the street from like the child care center.
Well, that's an issue that even if they didn't want to tackle.
But they have to now, because if the people start speaking, somebody has to answer for what they did to 125th Street. The same thing they did to 116. What they doing to 110, what they doing to 149.
No, but when you dealing with drug clinics, that's not city council. That's basically state.
Period. But somebody put that in there.
No,
somebody brought it here.
No, but that's a state issue because
it is.
When you look at majority of drug clinics that transition to exchange needles, that's because literally is on the verge of losing their license.
Mm-hmm.
You know that particular place that you referred to. They had more overdoses than anything. That's why
I'm not disputing. What I'm saying is, why did you put it right there?
No, that's been there.
No, exactly. How long has it been there?
Shit, it's been there for about
too long.
No, that's my point.
About 30 some years.
That's my whole point. Why you put it on?
But let me tell you, the issue is not why it's there. The issue is why they remaining to still have contracts.
That's after the part. Once you find out why you put it there, then the next question is, why is it still remained there 30-something years? You did a disservice to the community. That's what you did. You tore the culture apart by leaving it there. People got disrupted and they left. The vote was silenced, and the same people who were in control then are in control now. For 20 years.
Money is talking somewhere, though, right?
I'm telling you, it is. It is. Period.
You gotta keep in mind, a lot of those nonprofits that run supportive housing, so they're into the real estate game. That's one of the key problems, right? What I have a problem with, right, and this speaks to the community itself, is why are they still allowed to operate when they're getting these contracts and they're not fulfilling their contract. That's what I think I'm trying to more or less get you the answer, because at the end of the day, the roots is there, but it's why are they still there if they're not obliging, if they're not committed to their contractual obligations.
So who's the person who's in charge that put them there?
What you mean?
Are those state contracts?
A lot of the state contracts, when you deal with the city,
that's what I'm saying.
But listen,
if somebody did it.
But listen, a lot of those state contracts, when you come down to the drug treatment programs, but when you're dealing with the homeless population, it's city contracts.
Okay, so who gave those contracts out?
The city.
Who?
That would be your jurisdiction.
That's what I'm saying. But who?
That's DHS.
Okay.
Right?
Who else was that? Who else part of that, Will? That's DHS. Who else? That's Diana Ayala, City Councilman.
The city council has oversight over all cities.
Come on, man. What are you talking about?
We'll know this.
No, he knows. That's why I said that, because we're going to tell you. We know who it is.
No, but he knows this because this is some of the things that we spoke about on campaign when we was running. Like literally, the oversight is what I'm saying. Like if you get in office, the oversight being it predominantly affects your community, your constituents, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see literally transforming how or actually getting accountability, because a lot of them is not fulfilling their contractual obligations.
So you got to hold them accountable.
But the oversight component,
it's going to come from me. I have to do that. That's what I'm getting. That's why I'm here, to hold everybody accountable to do your job. So if contractually you're not doing it, then guess what? You gotta go. They have been doing this for 20 plus years. We are behind.
So pretty much you gotta overhaul the whole.
You have to. Period. You gotta level this shit.
No, because literally, like I said, I gave my findings to not be, right, at one point, they did an audit on the city. They found out that they was wasting money. It was conclusive. I gave it to Scott Stringer, and I gave it to Brad Landers. They've done nothing.
Okay.
They found everything what I said was conclusive. I just had a meeting with DHS last year about the same process. Nobody wants to change it, but the lawmakers have the power to actually call them to the table, right? And literally, like, hold them accountable.
Yeah, we have to though.
The
Yeah.
oversight.
We have to.
But that nothing changes in New York unless a lot of people annoy someone.
And that's
this
the
is
point.
The point that he made a little
That's the
earlier.
point.
You gotta get behind it.
People gotta
this
get
is-
behind
This
it.
is what we're gonna do, right? We're here today. This is motherfucking May, right? The end of May.
Yeah.
We're gonna holler back at you, nigga. And if you get in, right? In like, say, 6, 7 months, a year, whatever.
You got my phone. You gonna call me? You already know. Nigga, what you doing? What's going on over there?
Take your feet to the fire.
You have to,
man.
man.
It's about, man.
You have to.
So earlier you said that politicians have to be more transparent. What are some of the ways politicians could be more transparent and honest, even if like things ain't going right?
You have to be visible. You have to be able to be transparent to people. Like they should see you. They should be able to address their concerns. Like there should be a track record. Your current city council member has been into 2 terms. Do you know? I ask them, do you know who she is? And they go, no. That's a problem.
Oh, they know who she is. They just tired of
No, but there's a lot of people who don't know.
shit.
There's a lot of people who don't know. When you have a district of 180,000 people and only 10,000 votes come out, a lot of people don't know or they don't care.
Let's say you get it, right? What committees would you go be on?
I like the Asian committee. I like anything that has to do with education, affordability. I understand the conditions in my neighborhood. So to me, I can't just serve on one. I
No,
gotta serve on.
you can serve on multiple, but like some of the key committees that if you was get in office, which ones would you choose?
I gotta, like I told you, my points is affordability, because that's stability. Education, seniors, job placement, then security, as far as public safety. Then you gotta deal with drug addiction, mental illness. Because we gotta take care of us first. Once you take care of you as a man of color, then your ability is to what? Take care of your children, take care of your mama, do what? Job stability. From there, once you have that nucleus, then you're able to deal outside. I need you as law enforcement to protect my stability, right? That's public safety. That's being accountable. And then once you have that established, then we can start looking at what's the problems that affect by that point. And that becomes your mental health, your drug addiction. But as men in our community, as men of color, we can band together, we can help those brothers. But that's why I said, when they start to look at mental health and drug addiction as number 1 priority, then they're gonna call men of color to be the voice for that. Which means that now our stability is in jeopardy, our children are in jeopardy, we losing them now, and then our seniors are getting pushed out. And how they did that was criminal justice system. Start locking us up.
Everyone's getting pushed out.
Period.
You know, when you speak about school,
Economic status, right? It's got to do with your money.
when you speak about school, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 school districts in your council district, 4 and 5, right? Highest rate of failing schools, right? District 4 has one of the highest rates of suicides amongst kids, especially through bullying, right? What changes would you make or would you recommend in regards to that? Because you have a lot of parents concerned with that. Like I've had to respond to 3 high-profile suicides of kids out of District 4, and it seems like it's a culture because they have yet to address anything.
Yeah. No, it has to be addressed. I mean, here it is that that's part of the education piece, right? Our kids, and you look at public schools, we have to put more money into public education. Period. I understand. We understand that children.
A lot of money.
Listen, but it still has to be done because public schools are suffering.
Well, they get a lot of look.
But it's still
they get $40 billion out of it.
all right.
They get
Then we
20% of the
got to look at what they get. We got to look at that. But they still need resources because we know that our children learn at different levels. We got to take that into account.
And that's got to come down to mental health as well.
It has to. That's in there. That's a piece that's in there. Mental health. Even afterwards, with the job, summer jobs for kids, programs for kids, sports for kids. No, all that stuff is gone. It's been taken over by high rises.
What you mean?
There was a baseball field on 111th Street, 112th Street, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Back in the day, yeah.
Come on. That was something that the kids played sports on Saturday. The lady on the corner sold the empanadas. The police used to pull up and they used to, come on, man, what are we talking about?
And then now, like
It's gone. It's high rise building.
Medicine and all that. You got to pay a certain amount for your kid to go there, whatever. When back in the day, we used to be able to walk in, and they had certain programs.
This is the thing about nonprofits. They literally destroyed our communities with nonprofits. Everybody want to be
So
paid.
everybody agrees in their palm.
That's what I'm
Money is
saying.
talking, bullshit is walking.
But at the end of the day, our children are suffering because now you got Johnson, you got Taft beefing with each other, getting into shootouts.
Right, even right here where we at, you got what's this man, Agville and Grant.
Come on.
Them niggas going at it.
So now you have that. Back in the days, we wasn't like that. Back in the days, you can walk. We used to walk from 123rd and Lex to 96th Street. We walked 3rd Avenue all the way down to 96th Street. And we stopped along the way. What up, my dude? How's everything? Yeah. Stop at the store. Like, it was different for us back then. It's not like that no
Niggas
more.
gotta have their face masks on just to go across the street.
Come on. At the end of the day.
What programs would you implement
Programs for what?
for the youths?
I just gave you a whole layout of what I implement for kids. At the end of the day, it's about the education. We got to get back to that. We have to. Our kids are lost. Instagram is running their lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, TikTok.
TikTok,
Yeah,
Social media.
Social media is pretty much.
but we got to
Basically,
use
yeah.
the tool to get the message across. That's
So
why
it's
we
a
use
double-edged blade.
It
So it's
is.
good and bad.
It is, but you just gotta know how what you're dealing with, and that's it. And everybody's not gonna accept your message, but the message still has to be put out there. Because if one person gravitates towards it and it saves their lives, you did your damn job.
Because
I
you
just made a
said.
post like that today, and I said something
You know
just
what I'm
a couple hours ago. I was
saying?
just saying something just like that.
Because you said SYEP, and I was like, it's been like a while since I've seen kids with the
Is that still even a
SYEP.
thing?
I don't even know. This SYEP.
Yeah, that's still definitely a thing.
It's
100%.
Yeah.
But you gotta get picked somehow, like it's like a lottery or some shit like that with that right now, right?
No, it's just that
Catch two.
Is it that or like kids ain't trying to work no more? They trying to
the kids are trying to work. It's
Well,
It's
just
just they don't fund the program the way they're supposed to.
No, and then we got all and that was another thing. So we sat down with a bunch of union guys, and I'm sitting there saying, listen, bring apprenticeship programs into the
No, they
community.
doing
No, but you gotta make them. At the
No,
end,
they're not doing that.
listen what I'm saying, brother. Listen what I'm saying. At the end of the day, these become your future union members. What are we talking about?
Look,
You have to take an added invested interest in the community.
I can tell you personally, they're not gonna do that.
It's all right. It's fine, but they can be changed. When these numbers start to draw together, you're gonna start to see something different, man.
Let me like I do a lot of advocacy work.
I got you.
He can tell you. I spoke with the governor to get Lincoln Correctional Facility. He's gonna turn it into a vocational trade school.
Yeah.
She promised we would have that talk after she won
You
the
said the
election.
governor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
After the election, she put in an RFP program.
It's affordable. They turned into affordable housing now, right?
Right.
That's what they're trying to do to
it's
us.
not affordable.
That's what they're trying to do.
What
to
the
us.
rest is saying,
but here's the
personalized,
thing.
affordable for who?
But here's the
That's
thing,
what they're
when they closed it, right, they said it would go to a community project. That was a whole plan to it. It would go to the community for something that was, sustainable for the community. So I brought the idea of a vocational trade.
Yeah, which would be a good idea.
Because the problem that I had was a lot of unions, they didn't want to invest in the community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, for the last 8 years, I've had a relationship with unions where I send kids to the unions, they get in through the back door to the point where it got burdensome, right? Now you gotta do it this way now when it open up, because some of these unions, I'm gonna keep it, they're not a friend of the black community.
I get it. I understand. I
But
get
it
it.
still goes back to what we started the conversation at with the numbers, man. If you got the numbers behind you, maybe we can make a difference.
You see, the thing about having the numbers, let me say this here to you, right? Politically, you need numbers. Politically. But when you start doing things for the community, right, all you need is the sound mind and investors. to make it happen, right? Vocational trade schools, when you're dealing with kids that's coming out of segregated schools, right? High risk, they call them high risk schools in black communities, right? 82% of the kids that graduate under the new structure, and I said this earlier, the new structure promotes social promotion where they can opt out of regions. This is one of the reasons why I can't stand Cuomo, right? They didn't want to change how you educate the kids. Nobody wanted to look at the disparity in funding component on the congressional level. Nobody wanted to change the 1965 Education Act because that loophole allows them to keep underfunding black kids. Black kids don't get the same funding as white kids, right? And one of the reasons why they have Title I money is, if you notice, they don't give the Title I money to the schools. They make the courts give it to them. Because if you give one, you got to give more. That's how the banks and everything got bailed out. They utilize that loophole, right? I just watched City Council give the Jewish community $5.2 million to build a headquarters. But none of them on City Council want to support a vocational trade school for the kids. Something that's conducive. It takes away the violence. It gives them something to be more, active with, especially with all this building. Nobody in City Council wants to touch that because they're afraid of the unions. How can we change that structure?
Well, we got to change one at least. If we can change one, then hopefully we can change more. But at the end of the day, it's about unifying. That's where it all starts. If they break us up as a collective, then it's over.
I think you got a better shot if you got the numbers behind you.
You have to
work or not. You
have to.
got a shot at it.
No.
Because at least they're gonna listen.
I didn't dispute.
That's all.
I didn't dispute having the numbers. I didn't dispute having the numbers politically. What I'm saying is, right? Because if you notice now, over the last 3-4 years, everybody's talking about vocational trade schools now. Everybody. Like everybody. I've been talking about this shit for almost 10 years, 8 to 10 years. Now everybody's on it. Everybody I speak to elected official because it's necessary. Not everybody's gonna go to college and make it. Like I said, 82% of the kids that come out of public school from black communities, for every 100, right, only 22% go on to get 30 credits. They don't have an education level for a community college level. They need remedial courses. They're failing our kids, but they think in exchange by replacing something, right, it's okay to promote social promotion. And all you're doing is setting these kids up for failure. If you don't replace, right, if you don't have an alternative solution, right, we will have the same process that's going on now.
100% right.
And one of the reasons why voter turnout is low, one of the reasons why people don't believe in politicians, is because the same bullshit. Even when you talk about some of the activists, they play on the community, right? But when it's time to actually do, it's about their pockets. That narrative has to somehow stop.
Yeah.
Because the black community literally is like, and I say this a lot, I've become frustrated. The black community is doomed. We can say what we want to say, we can, look at it, Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive, it's doomed. We allow social media, the frenzy of rap, and everything else to conflate the narrative that destroys our community. And it destroys our community. They need to see something real. When I say something real, somebody that's really, because in our communities, it's no longer telling somebody, I got a phone for you. You got to do this here. Yo, hit a phone. Come on, let's go. If it's not tangible, they don't want to hear it because they've heard so much. How do we change that narrative? Is what I'm getting at.
Like you said, they got to see an example. And they only see that through the work that's consistently being done. Because it's about credit now. So at the end of the day, that's it. If they hear about it, all right, but if they see you do it, then it's different. I see y'all here all day, OG. I recognize.
So to follow up on this question, that the community needs to see something tangible, what are some things the community can see that will change people's outlook and perspective?
They gotta see progress. They gotta see progress. Like for me, social media is an important tool because if people utilize it right, they can see the work being done. You know what I'm saying? So that becomes the validation. So they gotta see you in motion. They gotta see you doing something. They gotta see you. That's how people start to join in when they see your motion.
How's the support been so far in terms of your campaigning? Like how are you raising funds? How's that process been going?
I mean, the process has been great.
Okay.
You know, we got to the petition process. You know, we knocked on doors. People opened the doors. They showed a lot of love. It got to the point where people started showing us the conditions of their apartments.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and so, our only mishap during this campaign was, you know, Wilfredo Lopez taking us to court.
Gotcha.
You know, and so that was the downside. You know.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So, Wilfredo Lopez, he's on the ballot. You know, he's backed by Super PAC. Super PAC put up $1.6 million to fund his campaign. And so what that told us was that you're not genuine. Somebody's behind you that's going to fund it, so you're going to sell out this community at some point.
What is their interest, do you know?
No, we don't know what their interest is. That's what we're trying to find out now.
Shit, ain't hard to find out.
But I'm trying to tell you. So what he did was he filed these trumped up charges, you know, with our petitions. You know, invalid signatures, said we didn't have the numbers that we had. And so we had to go to court, and the Board of Elections said we was good. They certified me on the ballot. So what he did was they appealed.
Okay.
So now our attorney had to stay in court and fight an appeal. William was a part of the appeal process. He was there. He can tell you. And so after we beat him on that level, they get brought in the mediator because they appealed. So now that we had to keep going to court with the mediator. Then the mediator said Raymond is good to be on the ballot. Board of Election, they restamped it. So and then they appealed it again to the first, to appellate division.
Wow.
When the appellate division, they got it and they said we're not even going to touch it because this don't even make sense.
It's kind of like, you know, in basketball when the coach keep doing this, the challenge.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
challenge. You know what I'm saying? And so what happened was that now the campaign, we raised a lot of money for the campaign. And what happened is that now all the campaign funds had to go to legal fees. And so this was the tactic. This was the tactic that he used against all the candidates that was running to exhaust their resources, right? Meanwhile, he's a. And so for me, I was like, damn, this is how we play.
Yeah.
And everybody said, well, it's politics. And I said, no. There's an integrity piece here.
No, I ain't gonna take it.
Well, for me, it is, brother.
Yeah.
No, for you,
But that's why I stand on that.
Right.
Yeah, but that's why I stand on that shit. And so for me, then it was like, this dude shouldn't even be allowed to even debate amongst us. Because at the end of the day, when you start to use tactics like that, that should tell the people that you're not worthy of holding that position.
Right.
Period. Right? And so that becomes one obstacle, and then you have your current obstacle, which is your current politics in East Harlem and the South Bronx. Those who have, you know, your councilman who has been on 2 terms, who now is trying to put her chief of staff in to come behind her to take over the reins.
That's how she got it.
100% right, brother. You already know. We calling it. And so now we telling the people to look at that track record. To go, how did she get in, right? How did she get in?
It's just
No, how did she get in?
She was Maritza's chief of staff.
Who?
Maritza. That's who's calling the shots.
There we go. He said it. He said it. No, 100% right. But we need the people to know.
Yeah.
The people, a lot of people don't. A lot of people, see, you shake your head like they supposed to know that. A lot of people don't know that.
Shit.
That's why we giving them the info. So we know that it went from her to Diana, and now it's to go to her chief of staff, which is Elsie, who's running on the campaign. And so now, if you look at the conditions in your neighborhood, and they've been like this for 20 years, then you know who did it.
But don't you think there's a bigger issue at play? It seems like the black and the Latino politicians are just kind of going head to head, and it's just
In East Harlem?
in Harlem in general.
Well, in Harlem in
Uptown,
general, it can be, but in East Harlem, is one entity that runs it. Wilfredo is another one that's coming in to try to take over, and at the end of the day, all you have is the people.
And they're the ones losing out.
And they're the ones losing out. So when I come in to try to be the voice of the people.
Right.
That's it. Who's fighting against 2 entities that are trying to take over East Harlem and the South Bronx. And you know it. You said it. It's all there. This picture. Now to get to your point, how have these people gotten away with this for so long?
I'll tell you why. They frustrate the voters, right?
Yeah.
And they got their base that they stay in. Like,
Not yet. Good. Tell them.
that's
You got
right.
it. You got it. You got it. They have a base that's already set to get them, keep them in office. And as long as they rely on that base, then we have no voice unless we utilize our voice. So at the end of the day, when I come in here, I'm trying to get people to utilize their voice. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So let me just go a different direction, right?
Yeah.
We folks earlier, right? And caught this nigga, I was in the projects in Johnson on the east side. I'm gonna go do some charity work like I always do.
Yeah.
The nigga was in there with some gloves, and at this time there was no politics or nothing. The nigga was living in Atlanta,
Right.
living, TV show, reality, whatever the fuck he was on.
Yeah.
And the nigga was in there serving food to the community, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know this Wilfredo nigga, man. Straight up, look, I'm dead. Look, y'all niggas think I'm playing.
I'm not mistaken, Wilfredo used to work for Rich.
Yeah, that's a drop.
No,
That's
brother,
Wilfredo.
thank
That's
you.
too funny.
Thank you. You answer all my questions.
Yo,
Because that's the people need to hear that.
No, for sure.
And then he comes from me, it's coming from another brother who loves the community, who understands.
Yeah.
Nah, I saw that.
Yo, I'm gonna take you back, right?
Yeah.
I'm really debating on should I get my royalties out of y'all.
What royalties?
There's a scene that y'all put in your film where a guy told y'all to get out the park.
And when they see us?
Yeah. You remember that night?
Do I remember that night? Yeah, of course I remember that night.
You remember the guy that told you to get out the park?
That's crazy.
No.
But that was
Y'all remember that night?
course it
That's
was.
wild.
I was in there trying to go to the motherfucking garden. Y'all came in there with that bullshit. I was like, y'all, get out the park. It's too
Just
much
trying to breeze up
bullshit.
with a bitch or something?
That's what we always went. A lot of people went to the roof. We went to the garden.
So listen, we didn't cover the politics and all that shit, right?
My man.
Salute to everybody on the east side, nigga Johnson, Lehman, motherfucking Carver, everything on the east
Wagner,
side.
no doubt.
Wagner,
East
Jefferson. Salute to all that shit. We're on the west side right now, but salute to everything on the east side too.
There's a Harlem.
Harlem Talks for real.
Yeah.
And listen, that nigga Fat Todd just beat a body today, big. Salute, nigga. We see you soon. Come home.
Brandon, tell the viewers what have you learned during this political process? Because I know it's a complex thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of pieces,
Yeah.
and as a city council person, you gotta look at all these pieces, and you gotta make judgment on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of them that are cracked. A lot of them can't do nothing with them, and then there's those that they're good. We can still utilize them. And that's one thing that I've seen on the, as me being an activist all my life, I always had the ability to walk into spaces and just do the knowledge, right? Don't be so quick to talk. Just watch and observe. And so I come from that space. I come from that cloth where we don't talk too much, we just observe. By the time we start talking, we got a good understanding of what's going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that, for me, it was just about looking at the pieces and just getting familiar. Because like we said, there's an entity that's here already. And so there are people from that entity that will try to come amongst me and say, hey, you need my help.
Right.
But they just come to sabotage. So it's stuff like that you learn.
So we talked about things that need to be changed, negative things in the community. Can you give me like 3 to 4 positive things that you see in East Harlem and the South Bronx?
I mean, for me, there's still a sense of culture there, right? There's still a sense of people, like there's love in the community still. Like it's there, even though the conditions look bad, and we still survive with those conditions. Like you can't take that away from the people. It's there. You just gotta build upon it. It still exists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't lose everybody. La Maqueta is still there. Like, you know what I'm saying? We lost some things, but we can still bring some of that stuff back.
Shit, every time I go to 116th Street, I look, I'll be like, damn, the sneaker store is
Come
gone.
on. Jams used to be on the corner.
116th.
Jams, I'm going before Jam.
Oh, yeah.
We had a fish market. The Llama Pepper shit used to be like a fish market or something like that back in the day.
No, it wasn't fish market. It
I
was
saw
Hispanic
fish
food.
over there.
It was all Hispanic food
You
in
walk
there.
through there, My
Yeah.
grandmother used to be on the corner of 116. She used to sell. She had a little table. She used to sell little Rubik's cubes and trinkets and stuff like. It was that type of culture. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They gentrifying the east side,
yeah.
and
the bottom of the Bronx too. That's you go over there nighttime, nigga. You look from over the bridge.
It look like a city now.
That shit look like
that's
downtown skyline.
that's the same. That's the
It's all the
same
same area, right?
Yeah.
same district.
The same district. We yeah. It look like a city over there.
Like,
That shit like a skyline.
and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Walt Disney got a lot of that property over there.
He's got something to do.
You'd be surprised.
You know.
But
But then my question is, how many of us are in there?
oh
That goes back to the question.
See what I'm saying?
We keep saying that.
no, we ain't in there. Not unless
Niggas don't
we
wanna
just
lie
sold
to
out.
dumb shit like that.
No, not unless we just sold out. That's the only way we.
Well, Wilfredo lives in there.
That's what we're getting at.
He lives in this.
Unless we sold out.
The community got to move in. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know, I kind of enjoy this.
Speaking of that, is there like some type of platform where you and the different people running like can have a public forum debate or something?
No, we have had them. We had several. We did about 4 or 5 of them already. We got one tomorrow.
Okay. Where can the people see it?
I don't know. Where's this one tomorrow at, Will?
It's at a high school.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
You try this one,
It's in
Lisa?
South Bronx.
Are people filming these that you can see?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe we did a couple of them already.
Yeah,
The
they
last
have
one.
press release and everything.
Yeah, it's well, but it's not. It's a forum. It's supposed to be a debate, but you know the candidates that's on there, you know, they're pretty smart. They understand what we need. You know what I'm saying? Like if you sit there and you talk to them, they sound good. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the content, right? It's the people themselves.
Right.
So we want to be fair with what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids
We wanna
Bay?
talk to this nigga Wilfredo.
Nah, you can talk to them.
Kids Bay?
Find out where he's standing with his
Yeah.
policies.
Yeah. I mean, you know, my thing is,
I'm looking for it.
if they didn't take us to court and then we didn't fight about the super PAC, then we
Behind
would.
Lincoln?
He would have just been another candidate.
It's
But he's not even from East Harlem.
the Laboratory
You know
School
what
of
I'm saying? So
Finance
if you're
and
not-
Technology.
Oh, that's behind. That's
Square
on.
from nowhere.
That's on.
No, you can find out, but you know.
That's
But
behind.
he lives now. He lives in the new building.
145th.
But you know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's behind.
saying?
What's
It's
the name?
just
That's behind. What's that place?
The
The,
hip
the storage. No, the storage
The
place.
storage place, the orange looking building.
yeah. So you know
Yeah, I
the
know
forums are good, but you know it's everybody kind of has the same answers because they general, and it's not like you can give 2 minutes on them. It's like
Shit,
30 seconds.
you got some of the motherfuckers on that running that I wouldn't vote for if my fucking life depended on it.
There you go.
You know.
You trying to pull the plug?
Wow.
What? I mean, literally, like, you gotta keep, like, I know some of these people, right, from doing the work, and a lot of them,
See,
Pack them up.
but if nobody knows that, then this person's running around like he's the best thing since life. Right?
Because it's backwards. The politicians are leading the community, not the community leading the politicians.
and you listen, you
So
got
you
people,
got to restore that
look,
balance.
you got people that's running, literally, that claim to be community advocates, that
Right.
literally is not, you know, they was in bed with the Bronx power structure,
Mm-hmm.
and they ain't got the agenda for them. Trust me, I know a few of them.
See?
Nigga, Palm got breeze, right?
No, it ain't that the palm got greed. It's you got opportunities. A lot of it's opportunities. You know what I mean? And it's sad because they thinking about what they can get.
Right.
You know, like I'm gonna tell you, I had a goal to break up some of the stuff that was going up in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So I introduced one candidate to a district that she needed to win. Now, I don't ask for much. I said, yo, I'm not going to endorse you. I will introduce you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they like you, they'll back you. And I told them, I said, yo, listen, give her a shot. If y'all like her, back her.
Yeah.
But this is a message to the establishment here that they can no longer do what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she gets in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Changes her number.
She blocked you?
changed her number, fuck block. Right?
Mm.
Seen me at a function, got real like indignant, right?
She walk past you and say hi and that.
Got real indignant, and she expects to win this time for a seat. Not gonna happen.
So like the Hollywood, that's crazy.
There you go.
But she's a career politician.
Yeah, but see, that's what we ain't fucking with though.
And literally, I just wanted to break up because, you know, the Diaz family had that locked up there. I just wanted to break that up.
Question, right? The 149th and 3rd fall under within what you trying to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where it stopped at.
That shit is zombie land.
That's where it stopped at.
BX, that's crazy out there.
That's where it stops
That
at.
is a cesspool, B.
It's
This side of 149th Street, right? Going back towards 100, back to Manhattan, it stops.
So
Salaam
that's
takes
all in
this
the
side.
same,
And when you go towards the concourse, Athena takes that part.
okay.
You know what I mean? She ain't shit either. But that's another story.
She got a whole he ain't shit. He ain't shit list.
Don't end up on the ain't shit list. I'm telling you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nah, cause he gonna call me, yo, son.
That's what I'm telling you.
Got you on the you ain't shit list, son.
Because
Nah, I think got to do the right
something
thing.
happened in your community, it's the first thing I always get. When I do a press conference and a lot of these people, this shit be like, yo, how can you call me? I shouldn't have to call you for a press conference. You're supposed to be calling me to stand with you. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is your district. Like, I get that a lot. You know, and trust me, you don't want to be on that shit list.
It's like 10 pages long.
Then when you call him, but nah, go handle the rest of the list before you get to me. I'm at the bottom. Go handle the rest of that list. By the time you get to me, I'll fix it.
Kill them in the press. You know?
Thank you, boy.
But we definitely enjoyed having you.
Yeah, it's a
You know what I
fact.
mean?
That was a good look,
It was
B.
good. And I think, you know what I'm saying, just from being here, right, you got the potential to do a lot. You know what I'm saying?
You won him over.
You got the potential to do a lot.
No, but that's the thing. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I need them to hold me accountable. I need them to say, you know what? Because there might be some shit that I can't figure out.
Yeah.
And he got it. So if he go, nah, I ain't fucking with him, he ain't gonna give it to me. I need him to say, yo, great, that problem, I can help you.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
It goes back to the original conversation. Ain't nothing without the people, man.
It ain't nothing without the people. I got that motherfucker right there with me because he resourceful. He knows everybody.
If you get on that public safety committee, right? Trust me. The best thing you can do with that public safety committee is when it comes down to the police department, there's rules that's not being adhered to, and they're allowing the law. They're utilizing loopholes within the law, right? One of the problems that I got with the NYPD, even though I have a good relationship with them, is, you know, they're not being held accountable. Bronx has one of the highest rates of unarmed shootings and you know, officers beating trial. And one of the reasons why they beat trial is because they don't hold the disciplinary hearings in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Right?
What happened to the nigga that threw the cooler to do it on a motorcycle or some shit like
He's
that?
going to jail.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's going to jail. But the NYPD shouldn't be in charge of disciplinary hearings because under the charter and everything, it says that the hearings, Department of Hearings is the ones that do the hearings.
I thought the internal affairs had something to do with that. Huh?
No, internal affairs just investigate, but when it comes down to the actual adjudication, it's the trials department, and they have a separate agency for that. What it is that they don't present it to the trial agency properly. So the grand jury will never hear if the officers was in the discharge of their
Shit
duties.
gets
You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
No, they just won't hear it. And when you go to trial either by jury or by judge, you got to show that they wasn't doing their job. They wasn't part of their lawful duties, right? There has to be a rule with that because, like I said, the law says they got to start the hearing within 18 months of the incident. it doesn't give a specific time when it has to conclude. Majority of these cases these disciplinary hearings being held 5 years afterwards. I think this might get you in a lot of heat.
No, you already know.
You know, literally. You know, I always say this, anywhere from 90 to 120 days is sufficient to conclude a hearing, right? This way the grand jury get to hear it, right? The trial court get to hear it, because when you look at Derek Chauvin with George Floyd, he wasn't convicted because they had it on video. He was convicted because the department said, listen, we fired him because that's not a part of his training. And that's what's missing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we do that, implement that within the largest police department in the United States, it sets a tone for every other precinct, and it begins to have a better relation with the black community, because as it stands now, we looking at like, yo, they kill us and get away with this shit.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Once we stop that, and they
They
see,
killed us on camera, got away with this shit.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
See what you saw.
Like George Floyd, I mean, like Eric
It
Gardner.
was crazy. It
Look,
was-
Eric Gardner, a lot of people don't know this. The first person to get choked out to death was Anthony Byers in 1994.
That's right.
The New York State legislators passed the Anthony Byers Act, which forbade, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
chokeholds.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers played so many games with that shit.
They tried to say it was just weight and all that, and he had asthma.
No. The coroner said he died from asphyxiation.
Yeah, they tried to say it was
Right?
weight.
But they never charged him because, you know, the conflict of interest with prosecutors. You know what I'm saying? They have a professional relationship that they won't cross because they need the police. I always said, you know, that Attorney General should literally, that's another thing that I got with Cuomo that I didn't like. But there has to be, you know, changes, right? And legislate on a city level to bring those rules in effect to hold them accountable. And if you get in, you know what I'm saying, that should be one of your first things.
Well, that's something that, you know, we'll look at.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, I have a history, you know, with criminal justice system.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is a system that stalled us for 11 years during the civil suit. So we know how they operate. We know how they get down. We had to do depositions and all that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, listen, I know. I got him now in court.
yeah, and that's a part people don't, you know, they don't see that part. You know, they think that you get a civil suit and they settle and that's it.
No.
Nah.
This shit been going about 8.5 years, going
It
to 9
took,
years.
ours took 11 years.
Shit, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Only a few more questions. We gotta ask though, you supporting anyone for mayor?
No,
Behind it?
I'm not supporting anybody for mayor because I don't hear nobody talking about East Harlem and the South Bronx. So at the end
That's
of the day, my focus is that.
Right.
And if they ain't visiting, if they not coming to look at the conditions,
Yeah.
I'm not giving nobody.
That's
You
real.
know, it's only right though,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like when we have a condition that's been sitting there for all these years, and you got these people coming to run, nobody's coming in and talking about, I'm gonna clean this up.
Right.
Right? Which said to your point, like that power structure even got done, but they not even talking about it. On the mayoral candidate race type,
Yeah.
right? So
That's right.
yeah. So no, unless you coming in talking about how you want to help us, give us the resources and clean this up,
Yeah.
we don't need to talk about nothing. Yeah.
It's a film that shouldn't be up there.
No, 100%. 100%.
What's your next one?
That was really good. We covered a lot. I think that was great.
Nah,
You know, I appreciate you coming by and sitting down with us. You know.
Good luck in the primary. You know
Appreciate
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
So when is the whole process over? When is like? in terms
Well, you
of-
got early voting to June 14th, and then the primary the 24th.
Okay.
So that that sets the stage going forward.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, and so we just at the end of the day we just put the work in, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Put the work in because it's always a win-win.
Shit,
Period.
your opponent sound like Brad, crying.
So I mean, not to say the people that can find you, so the people that don't have you on social media, where can they find you?
No, you know, the website Raymond Santana for NYC.com. You know, social media Santana Raymond. It's all the same handle. The best way I'm not, you know, I'm on social media, but Instagram is probably the best way.
Alright.
Yeah. But you know, but if people want to donate, they can donate to the website. They can also sign up to volunteer because we also taking a lot of volunteers. You know, we got over, I think 40 now. I think maybe
75.
My bad, sorry, 75 volunteers.
Oh.
So that speaks a lot too.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? The traction that people are starting to see it. So once they start to see it, they start to believe it. They want to be a part of it.
You want to announce about June 3rd?
My man, see, that's why I got him with me. I tell you. So June 3rd, we will be at the gate of the Exonerated at 12 p.m. Councilman Yusef Salaam is going to announce his endorsement.
Okay.
So that's going to be a big thing, and we want Harlem to come out because that's going to be one of those days that we want to send the message. Right. June 3rd. Yeah, we want to send the message of the unification.
What time are we talking about?
12 o'clock. At the, you know, gave the Exonerated. So
Yeah.
you already know.
Listen, man.
So
They call me Uncle Harlem, so they ain't right about it, nigga.
100%. And so we ask people to come on now. We want people, as many people as could come out as possible. The last time we was at the gate, I mean, there were, you know, group homes that brought kids.
Okay.
So, you know, whenever we do something at the gate, it's pretty impactful, it's pretty big.
Nice.
And so this would also be the signification of a unification between districts.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we want to show. We want to show that District 9 is in support of District 8 getting the resources and getting what it deserves, right? And that's the
sticking together.
yeah, that's what we need. You know, that's what we need. You know, that's what's missing.
For any younger people maybe watching this who want to get more involved and understand some of these issues, any advice for them?
We just ask them to get involved. You know, at the end of the day, Google, you have social media, the best friend, you can Google. We ask them, look up the candidates that are running, do your research. You know, people have to take some accountability on their own too. You know what I'm saying? And that's what doing the research with understanding the issues. So when a brother like this start talking, we want people to listen to that.
Right.
Not looking like, oh, he talking some bullshit.
Yeah.
Nah, you know, they turning their ears off. We need them to turn them up.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and again, we want the young people to get involved because they the future. They the cream. The system is trying to give them a jail cell instead of a college dorm. I've been pumping this shit for 20 years. The system wants to put a hold on them and give them that negative statistic.
2.0, mass incarceration.
Period.
Raise the age.
Period. So at the end of the day, as us men of colors, that's the duty. The duty is to save our children because the system wants them to occupy a jail cell.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we have no choice. We in this fight. Now, for me, it just becomes broader. Now I gotta look at the seniors. I gotta look at us as the middle ground. Make sure that we have decent employment. Make sure that the unions give us something back. You know what I'm saying? Like they get involved. Like as us as men of color, like we are the foundation. Once we go wrong, that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody's there to protect the house.
Yeah.
Right? And it's about stability. This is why gentrification. This is why they pricing this out. Disrupt our stability. We don't have nothing. We have no foundation.
Yeah, and a lot of people they're pricing out are, you know, the teachers, nurses,
The people we
essential
need in the
people.
community.
If they took off of work for one day, the city couldn't function without them.
This is how. Look, I'm gonna give you an example. You have June 14th early voting, right? There's 2 polls in East Harlem. One is on Johnson Project, right? So people, we know a lot of seniors vote in our district.
Right.
People from 1199 Washington have to walk to Johnson. Look at the science behind that. You put it out of reach.
Right. Yeah.
That's discouraging. They do that on purpose. So we got to try to find a solution to that.
Definitely.
Especially for our seniors who do go out.
1199 should have been in sight
Come on,
as well.
come on, come on.
What's your day to day like? Like, take us through a day of campaigning.
Up early with this guy on the phone.
Shout out to William.
Shout out to Will.
Yeah.
District Leader William Malley, he's my campaign manager.
Wow.
One of the most resourceful, smartest guys I've been around. He knows everybody.
They showing his face. Show the nigga, man. Come on.
Yeah.
What's
Nah,
up,
he like to be behind the scenes. He's busy on the phone right now. You see, he working right now. But you know, me and him, it's a schedule. You know, there's us meeting with people because again, it's that chessboard.
Right.
So it's us meeting with people constantly. It's us. You know, we still talk at schools. You know, we still talk at tenant associations.
For sure.
Right. We still doing that. And so it's a lot of interviews.
Right.
You know, my first 3 days after announcing the campaign, like literally, we did 13 interviews.
Right.
Every major news station, CNN, 1010 Wins, you know, NYC, WNYC, like we did all those stations, you know. And so ever since then, it's just been constant. I was just telling them today, I'm looking at the schedule and it's like, it just keeps piling.
Are you enjoying it?
Loving it.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Okay.
You know, that because me being an activist and always, you know, I mean, we had to find our voice.
Right.
From the Central Park 5 to when they see us. When we get to when they see us, we have been battling the system for over 10 years, 20 years.
Right.
So now when we get to when they see us, the brothers is willing to tell their truth a little more, is to be more transparent with the people.
Yeah.
And as a reward, we get to go global.
Right.
So now, globally, they hear about the issues that men of color face in New York City, right? And so then it's just a build from there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a build from there, so it becomes a natural progression.
I would say this, honestly, the opportunity, especially that you have a, name recognition and a platform, especially in simultaneously with Yusef, if you guys were able to kind of conduct some type of public hearing, so there's accountability for all the fucked up shit that's happening.
And
in
that's
town,
the point. That's what they're afraid of.
Yeah, that's
Because
could be
now
dangerous.
that's my brother.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if I have a problem, he has a problem.
Right. And this is Harlem, if we're
This
able
is
to
Harlem.
combat those issues here, it can be a blueprint for other, cities all across.
Set the trend for everything else.
Exactly.
That's it. That's what we're trying to do. It's just a unique situation that's come forth that I really had no knowledge it was going to happen this way. You know what I'm saying? It's naturally done through designed by God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he told you, I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta because I needed to
That
decompress.
video, nigga, that was years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't like no
Yeah.
shit yesterday. No politics was. Yusef, none of that shit was happening at that point when we did that video.
Right?
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. But we was always, because we were, we were activists fighting against the criminal justice system, we were always active.
Right.
So, I announced that I was running in February. That Christmas before then, I had just did a toy drive and gave away 300 toys at PS7 on 119th Street. You know what I'm saying? Because I lived on 119th Street. My grandmother, we lived in building 175.
Right.
I'm sorry, 115 East 119th Street. So, we was always active in the community, even though we was out of town and stuff like that, and we always came back. So we started to see how the conditions started to change.
Yeah.
But I was still in my decompress mode. So it wasn't about politics. It's when I start to watch Yusef and I start to see what he's doing, then I start to look at it and go, okay, that's the progression. Because as an activist, as a fighter who's been fighting all my life, even when I sit down for a while, I still get the itch. I still gotta be in the scrap somewhere.
Right.
And so now as I'm watching him, I'm starting to get a little jealous. Because this is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So now he's over there doing it, and I'm watching and I'm egging him on from a distance, like, yeah, do that shit. But then I start to look at my community now, and I go, damn, this shit fucked up over here too. And then, when I go to consult my daughter about it, right, because my daughter, she's 21 now, and I go to talk to her about it, and as we talking, she's like, well, you know what the conditions are. If you're gonna do something, shut up and go do it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And that
You seen
became,
it firsthand right there in the mix.
and that became the cosign when my daughter says, nah, go up there and do that shit.
Right.
It's real. And I go, no, you're right. At the end of the day, this is something that's been going on for a long time.
Since I can remember.
Yeah. And I'm just happy to be the person that just said, nah, now this shit gotta stop.
Yeah. Seriously.
We looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Man, we mean that shit, dude.
Oh, for real. For real. Like, I'm transparency, man. I don't, my life is good in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fought against the system. I won against the system. People say, what are you doing here? Like, I literally came here to do this shit. That's it.
Okay.
If the people don't want me, then the vote will tell that they don't want me.
Right.
And I respect that shit. But if you put me in here, you know what I'm saying?
Look, we're gonna see, man, because literally, you know what I mean? Change is needed.
Change is needed.
Change is needed, and people need somebody to see, to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's been so long with the talk and, and the phony shit. Like, community's just depleted.
Yeah.
You know? It's time to like re-energize. That's something like I always tell Prez, yo man, you gotta hype this shit. So you don't feed off your energy.
That's it. That's it.
So this is a good motherfucking episode.
Yeah.
Like, really, this is all right, man.
Nah, I appreciate y'all brothers.
Appreciate
for
you,
it.
man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah. Because this is what I need. This is the fuel that I need.
Well, this is Harlem Talks for real.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yo. It's your boy Prez, aka Cheap Allegations Poppy, aka Get Fit Poppy, aka Future Penthouse Poppy. This is Harlem Talks for real. Raymond Santana in the building. In the sweater, dressed like he's gonna save kids that prevent them from doing bad things. We got Alpheaus Marcus.
Councilman.
I am your Uncle Harlem, your friendly neighborhood Harlem nigga. Salute everything that got anything to do with Harlem, nigga.
And the hot.
This is
The hot house.
Cogsville.